Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone.
There are moments in life when fear sneaks in quietly, not with a roar, but with a whisper that says, "You're not enough." And if you've ever heard that whisper, if you've ever tried to silence it, you know how heavy it can be. Fear and vulnerability are two sides of the same coin. Vulnerability says, "Be seen." Fear says, "Hide." And every day, we have to decide which voice we're going to listen to. One of the hardest things we'll ever do as human beings is to actually feel what we feel. We are a culture addicted to moving on. We rush past our pain, slap on a smile, and say, "I'm fine." But we're not fine. We're fractured. And somewhere deep down, we've bought into this idea that feeling deeply means we're weak, that if we just stay positive or keep busy, the hard things will somehow lose their power. But here's the truth I've learned after years of research, and even more years of being human: you cannot heal what you refuse to feel. When something breaks your heart, the most courageous thing you can do isn't to fix it. It's to sit with it, to stay present in the middle of your own discomfort and whisper to yourself, "This hurts, but I'm still here." That moment, that's not weakness. That's bravery. I remember a season in my life when I thought I had to keep everything together. I was juggling motherhood, career, expectations, all of it, and I was drowning. But instead of admitting it, I built a wall around my heart. I called it strength, but really, it was fear wearing armor. And here's what happens when you do that: nothing can get out, but nothing can get in either. When you numb pain, you also numb joy. When you close the door on sadness, you lock out love too. One day I was standing in front of my team, talking about shame and vulnerability, and my voice started to shake. I felt that lump in my throat, the one that says, "Don't cry, not here." And for a split second, I almost swallowed it down. But then I didn't. I let the tears come, and I realized something life-changing. Vulnerability doesn't mean falling apart. It means being real enough to fall open. Feeling your feelings doesn't make you broken. It makes you honest. It means you trust yourself enough to face the truth. We think fixing is strength, but actually, feeling is strength. Because it takes courage to stand in the middle of your own storm and not reach for a shortcut. So the next time your heart aches, don't rush. Don't reach for distraction. Don't bury it under business. Just breathe, name what you feel. Let it be messy. Let it be human. Because every time you allow yourself to feel instead of fix, you give your soul a chance to speak. And when your soul speaks, healing begins. Most of us spend more time talking to ourselves than we do talking to anyone else in the world. And yet the way we talk to ourselves is often cruel, sharp, and unforgiving. We replay mistakes in our minds like a broken record. We measure ourselves against impossible standards. We tell ourselves things we would never, ever dream of saying to another human being. I see it in the women I work with. They'll apologize for their feelings, for taking up space, for having needs. And I think to myself, if she were my child, my sister, my best friend, would I let anyone speak to her like that? And the answer is no. Of course not. Yet somehow we believe it's okay to treat ourselves that way. We carry shame like a heavy coat, even when nobody else is looking. Here's the thing about vulnerability and fear: they thrive on self-judgment. They whisper, "You're not enough." And if you answer back with criticism, it just grows louder. But imagine this. Just imagine if, instead of attacking yourself, you spoke to yourself like someone you love. What if you offered yourself patience when you were scared? What if you gave yourself grace when you failed? What if your inner voice was soft, encouraging, tender? I'll be honest, when I first tried this, it felt awkward. I remember looking in the mirror one morning, exhausted from a sleepless night, and saying, "Brene, it's okay. You're doing the best you can. You are enough." And I thought, that's silly. Who am I even talking to? But slowly, over time, something shifted. The voice of fear started to quiet. The shame lost a little of its power. And a sense of calm, a sense of trust in myself, began to grow. Speaking to yourself with love doesn't erase mistakes. It doesn't make fear vanish, but it changes the conversation. It reminds you that you're human, not flawed. It reminds you that you're allowed to be learning, struggling, and imperfect, and still worthy of love and belonging. So tonight, I want you to try it. Next time fear whispers, "You can't do this," speak back, "I hear you, thank you for warning me. But I am enough. And I am brave enough to try anyway." It sounds simple, but it's radical. Because when you treat yourself with the same tenderness you'd show someone you love, you start to rewrite the story of who you are. And suddenly, vulnerability isn't something to fear. It's a doorway to courage. When most of us think about courage, we imagine someone standing tall on a battlefield, a firefighter rushing into a burning building, or someone speaking their truth in front of thousands. We think courage is loud, bold, heroic. But the kind of courage that changes your life, the kind that transforms your relationships, your work, your soul, is often quiet, messy, and deeply personal. Courage is showing up when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Courage is telling your partner, "I need help," even though you're scared they'll judge you. Courage is raising your hand, asking the question, or sending that message even when your hands are shaking. Courage is choosing to be seen exactly as you are, when all you want to do is hide. I remember a time when I had to speak about vulnerability to a large audience. I was terrified. My heart was racing. My mind was shouting, "You're not qualified. You're going to fail." And in that moment, I realized something profound. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward in spite of it. Courage looks like staying in the conversation when it would be easier to walk away. It looks like telling the truth, even when you risk being misunderstood. It looks like sitting with discomfort instead of running from it. And here's the thing, courage is contagious. When one person stands in their truth, it gives others permission to do the same. When you redefine courage for yourself, you start to see it everywhere. In the single mother navigating life alone, in the teenager speaking up against bullying, in the friend admitting, "I don't know how to fix this, but I want to try." And most of the time, courage is quiet. It's not about heroics. It's about heart. It's about choosing love over fear, choosing connection over isolation, choosing authenticity over safety. So today, I want you to remember this: you are braver than you feel, stronger than you think, and more capable than you've ever given yourself credit for. And the next time fear tells you to hide, whisper back, "I hear you. Thank you for trying to protect me, but I choose courage." Because real courage doesn't come from winning or being perfect. It comes from daring greatly, from stepping into life fully, with your heart exposed, with your hands open, and with the faith that even if you stumble, you will rise. And that, my friends, is how ordinary moments become extraordinary acts of bravery. Perfectionism is one of the most dangerous forms of fear, dressed up in a costume of doing your best. It tells you, if you just work harder, look better, say the right thing, you'll be safe, you'll be loved, you'll be enough. But here's the truth: perfectionism doesn't protect you. It isolates you. It keeps you small. It keeps you from showing up fully in your relationships, in your work, in your own life. I've seen it so many times in my own life and in the lives of the people I work with. Women who are brilliant, creative, and capable, but paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. People who wait for the perfect moment to speak up, only to realize the moment has passed. Perfectionism convinces us that we are never enough, never polished enough, never smart enough, never ready enough. And because we're so busy trying to be perfect, we miss the beauty of being human. We miss the ladder, the mess, the mistakes that teach us more than any success ever could. I remember a day when I was preparing to give a big talk. I had rewritten my notes a dozen times, rehearsed every word, timed every pause. And yet, standing on that stage, my mind still screamed, "You're going to mess this up. People will notice. People will judge you." And then something shifted. I realized this isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. It's about being real. So I let go of my script. I let go of the right words. I let my heart lead the way. And you know what happened? The audience didn't notice my stumbles. They didn't care that I wasn't flawless. They cared that I was authentic. They leaned in, they listened, they connected. That's the paradox of perfectionism. The more you chase it, the less connection you create. The more you embrace your messy, imperfect self, the more power and courage you discover. So tonight, I want you to try something radical. The next time perfectionism whispers, "You have to get it right," whisper back, "I am enough exactly as I am." I am brave enough to show up imperfectly. Let go of the idea that you have to be perfect to be loved, to be worthy to belong. Because the truth is, we belong not despite our imperfections, but because of them. And when you let go of perfectionism, you don't lose control. You gain freedom. Freedom to love fully. Freedom to create. Freedom to be seen. And that is where courage lies. One of the most profound truths I've learned about vulnerability and fear is this: you don't have to face it alone. We live in a world that glorifies independence, that tells us we should be able to do everything on our own. But here's the secret: we were never meant to do life alone. Connection is not optional, it's essential. When fear shows up, it tells you you're alone. No one understands. You have to figure this out by yourself. And if you listen to that voice, you isolate yourself. You shrink. You stay small. But when you find your people, the ones who see you really see you and still choose to stay, you begin to understand the power of belonging. These are not just friends. These are souls who will hold your story without judgment. They don't try to fix you. They don't dismiss your pain. They simply say, "I'm here. You're not alone." I remember a moment in my life when I felt utterly exposed, terrified even. I had taken a risk, opened my heart, and felt like I was walking on glass. And in the middle of that fear, I reached out to one of my closest friends. I told her everything, my doubts, my insecurities, the fear that I wasn't enough. She didn't lecture me. She didn't tell me what to do. She just listened. She held space. She said, "I see you. And I'm here." And something miraculous happened in that moment. The fear didn't disappear, but it lost its power. Because connection always weakens fear. Because belonging always strengthens courage. Here's the thing: finding your people doesn't mean you'll never be hurt. It doesn't mean life will be easy. But it means you have allies. It means you have witnesses. It means you are no longer carrying everything alone. We all need those safe spaces, those safe souls, who remind us that being vulnerable is not a liability, it's a strength. They remind us that our stories, even the messy, painful, shame-filled parts, are worthy of being heard. And when you have people like that, you realize something beautiful. Courage grows in community. Love grows in community. Healing grows in community. So tonight, if fear is whispering, you're on your own, reach out. Find your people. Speak your truth. Let someone in. Because vulnerability is contagious, and so is love. And when you surround yourself with people who truly see you, you can face anything. And that, my friends, is where belonging, courage, and true strength begin. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, and creativity. You don't overcome fear by pretending you don't have it. You overcome it by walking with it, one brave step at a time. So tonight, if fear is whispering, just whisper back, "I hear you, but I'm still going." And that is how we rise.